talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Scales podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
Welcome to episode 39 of the I Am Kiana Scales podcast, proudly sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I'm your host, Kiana Scales, and today I'm thrilled to have my partner in crime, the one you have often heard me reference on the podcast, none other than Keita, joining me as my co-host for this special episode. Hey, Keita girl.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Now, as Pride Month wraps up, I want to take a moment to discuss why it matters to all of us, regardless of our own identities. It's more than just colorful parades and festivals. It's about celebrating diversity and acceptance in a way that uplifts everyone. Whether you're directly part of the LGBTQ plus community or not, embracing Pride Month means recognizing and supporting the rights of all individuals to love who they love and be who they are without fear of judgment or discrimination. So let's explore what makes Pride Month so meaningful and how we can all contribute to a more inclusive world together. Today, we are privileged to have my friend Thomas Kelly with us, a member of the LGBTQ plus community, who will be sharing his thoughts on the significance of Pride Month. Thomas brings a personal perspective to our discussion and a wealth of insights into how we can all play a role in creating a more inclusive world. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Scales podcast, Thomas. Woo!
Thank you.
Yes, we are honored to have you as our guest for this special edition. So, Thomas, could you start off first by introducing yourself and telling our listeners what brings you to the podcast today?
Okay, no problem. I don't think I can top that intro you just gave. But I'm Thomas Kelly. I grew up in North Nashville, Bordeaux area. So
North Nashville.
I know they say unicorns. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here. Started my business, Creative Souls Printing, in 2019. So full-time entrepreneur now. It'll be 5 years in August. So I'll be looking forward to celebrating that. That's pretty much.
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna definitely have you back to talk about how you started that journey. So we're gonna pencil that because we're gonna definitely bring you back for that. I can't wait to talk about that full-time entrepreneurship. Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Journey.
Yes.
All right. Could you tell our audience how you identify within the LGBTQ plus spectrum and what that identity means to you?
I identify with the G, the gay part of it. What does it mean to me? So I guess I would say I've been gay since around, we'll go with 2004.
Okay.
So right around when I started going to college, is when I really started to identify with who I was, started getting into being active. We'll just be friendly and say being active. And it just really helped me understand who I was, what I wanted to do in life. And I wasn't afraid to be that particular person. So I never particularly came out, I guess you could say. I just started having boyfriends. Really, it was one, and that was like in my 30s. And I brought, I know. That's why I'm like, I was just always who I was. I never said I'm gay. This is what I do. I didn't feel like it was necessary to say this is who I am. Like I'm always just gonna be who I am regardless. I don't think titles and labels matter. And that's just what I tell other people too. Like I'm not, straight people don't say, hey, I'm straight. Like, why you gay? You don't have to announce it to the world. So I was in my 30s and I had a serious boyfriend and I would bring him around my family. Like he was cool. My grandmama, my cousins would ask about him. And it was just kind of like, okay, it's known. And that's just how we lived. I was like, I don't feel like I need to announce anything, be any special person. Just be yourself. That's just how I've always been.
Which makes sense. So, Thomas, before we dive into more of this discussion, I want to acknowledge your recent Facebook post. I saw a post where you proudly shared, I am the gay son, I'm the gay brother, I'm the gay nephew, I'm the gay friend, I'm the gay cousin, and I am proud of who I am.
Yes.
For, I don't want to curse, but y'all can fill in the blank. And then at the end it said, Happy Pride. Your words truly resonate with many. And we're honored to have you here to share, your story. And like you said, you just want to be you, and you've always known who you were. And for those, I kind of want to take a moment, because there may be people that are listening don't know what LGBTQ plus stand for. Can you break that down for us?
Oh Lord. Okay, so
I got you if you don't.
So first, with that status, I didn't. That was not original. I did take it from somebody else and just kind of altered it to myself. Because I was like, I am all of those things. And I'm just gonna be who I am. And I got a lot of attention from it. I didn't expect it to be, because people were like, and we still love you. And they're like, well, we happy for you. And I'm like, I mean, I've always been this way. I just never said it like that. So I'm like, I hope y'all don't think this is me coming out, because I'm like, I've been happy forever. So, what you asked me?
The LGBT, what does it mean? Break down? Can you break down?
Okay. The letters.
I like the letters, because oftentimes we hear it, like, I would say this in the last, maybe, I would say about 2 years, we've been hearing more of it, because you just keep hearing LGBTQ plus, and then you hear all these other letters being added in. So just in case somebody's been under a rock and they don't know, what those letters stand for.
Okay, so don't be trying to get me canceled or nothing either.
I got you.
The plus part is like a bunch of additions that my friend calls me an old gay, because I'm like, look, we don't talk about all them other letters. I have no clue.
Not the old gay, but come on.
Because we got the L, which is lesbian.
Okay.
G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transsexual, and then there's the Q for queer. And then they started adding the I, the A, and then it just ended up being plus then on.
Because it was too many letters we added to the alphabet.
Correct.
Right. And I want to piggyback on something that you said, because I hear a lot of the quote unquote older gays saying we don't go by all that.
No.
And it's funny, because now it's I'm pansexual, I'm this, I'm that. So it's almost like, okay, no disrespect, don't cancel me, but it almost feel like the community just making up stuff. It's almost, it has that feel. I'm not saying y'all, please, like I said, don't cancel me. This is a discussion to get an understanding. That's almost what it feels, because being on the outside looking in, why is just the word gay not enough? I'm just throwing it out there, just asking a question because there are people that may want to say, why can't we just say I'm gay? I'm what we've traditionally known. Why do we have to say, it's another one, I'm fluid?
There's a whole bunch of them. So right. I get where it can be confusing, because a lot of us, it does confuse as well. But a lot of times in the gay community, part of us is we struggle with acceptance.
Yes.
And that is historically been in the gay community. So one thing that we like to participate in and make sure that we enforce in the community is being who you are. So even if there are a lot of different categories, like even now you have, you see that there's not man, woman anymore. You got people that say I'm binary or non-binary.
Yes. I was just getting ready to say that.
And then there's trans. So there's a lot of different people, a lot of different categories that people put themselves in. But even though we may not understand it all the time, we respect it. If this is who you want to be, this is how you want to identify, then we will go ahead and, participate and call you that or respect you, because you have people that are not he, him anymore, she, her, it's they, them.
And I do think we should, not to cut you out, we do have to be respectful of those pronouns. And for me, because we have some of everything in my family, but sometimes it comes off, are you being funny when we say, if I've always known you as her, and it's like, oh, it's not that I'm doing it on purpose. Sometimes the community also has to be accepting of. Sometimes it's not that people are being, it's just if they've always seen you in a certain light too, that just give us a little grace. Okay, go ahead.
Right. We do understand that. And that's just all most people want, is for you to be respectful of who they identify as. So like I said, even we may not understand it all the time, but if you want to be they, I'm going to call you they. If you tell me that you are non-binary or whatever your sexuality is, I will respect that. I may not have a long drawn out conversation and try to understand it, but I hear you and I respect who you are. And we leave it at that.
And I was gonna say, I respect that. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm gonna respect what you said, but if I have a slip up, I always say, like, oh my goodness, they said call, but like I said, we gonna all. Not that you intentionally, but you know when somebody's intentionally doing it. You know when they just. So I always tell people,
like to ask questions and like even when you're gay, people want to know who's the boy, who's the girl. Like that doesn't even make sense, but people's minds wonder and they want to get curious. But it's like you're asking me personal questions that whether you want to know or not, that's not your business. So I'm probably not going to engage in that, as you might feel like it's harmless to you. But to me, as this individual, it's like, why do you need to know all that? And that's not being respectful of that person's boundaries.
Yes, and because I'm on social media a lot, I always see when I stumble across things, it's like, I'm a power bottom, I'm the top, who the top? The questions that get asked, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm just throwing the stuff out there that I see.
Now that's a different category.
Right. But what I'm just saying is, I think that's kind of personal. Why would you be on social media asking somebody that? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
that's different category. That's like in the bedroom.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying, why is that a conversation? To me, that's like, that's none of your business. Why are you asking somebody that?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That's just like asking you, who's the man, who's the girl. Like that, to me, that's like none of your business.
You're right.
Like some stuff, I just feel like boundaries.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, and it's okay to be inquisitive. Like, I have nothing, I'll be the first to say, you got a question, ask it. But some stuff is just common sense of what you're asking. Be respectful. Right. Like you said, it has nothing to do. What is that going to change your perspective on who I'm sleeping or what I'm doing in the bedroom?
Yeah. It's just all about respect and boundaries. I mean, it's the same with random people that say, I want to touch your hair. Boundaries.
Thank you.
You know?
Boundaries.
So Q, since you we've already talked about the letters some, can you explain what the definitions for some of those are for some of our listeners that may need to know that?
Yes, I got you. So, like Thomas said, the L is for lesbian. That refers to women who are romantically or sexually attracted to other women. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If anything that I say is, we need you to step up, be like, correct me, because we're here to educate.
If you use Google, I trust you. Most of those are going to be right.
But I'm just going to say, because I'm not above reproach to say, this, because things change. Just make sure, because we're here to educate the people. So I want to make sure I'm giving the correct information. And the G is for gay, typically used to describe men who are romantically or sexually attracted to other men. It can also be used as an umbrella term for the entire LGBTQ plus community. B is for bisexual, which describes individuals who are attracted to both men and women. Bisexual people may experience attraction to people of their gender as well as other genders. Okay, so I'm on the right track. Now, the T is for transgender, refers to individuals whose gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. So transgender people may transition socially, medically, or both to align their gender identity with their gender expression. And then Q, queer, or I've heard it being called questioning. Does that make sense? Well, queer is an umbrella term that can encompass a variety of sexual orientations and gender identities that are not exclusively heterosexual or cisgender. And I hear that term a lot, cisgender.
Yeah, that's another term.
So can we talk about I just need you to help me out there, but so what exactly is cisgender?
That's that new stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to. You should have maybe. I'm at the research for it.
No, we're learning together. But the beauty of this episode is that we're all learning together.
You're right. So cisgender is it has to go with different components. What were you? How were you born? Male or female? And what do you identify as?
Okay.
So, like a cis male is I was born a male. I identify as a male. So I don't know all the details of it, but it does have to deal with what sexuality were you born with, and who do you currently identify as?
Which makes sense. Okay.
But it's your identity and not necessarily your sexuality.
Okay, your identity and not your sexuality. Okay. See, I'm learning. And so, additionally, that acronym you hear me saying, the plus, that includes that a plus sign is inclusive to other identities and expressions that are not specifically covered by those initial letters. So that's when you were saying that when I was talking about the pansexual, all those other identities where they come in, that's what that plus sign encompasses.
Yeah.
That pansexual, asexual, I think is one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Genderqueer, intersex. It's stuff that I'm going off the top of my head, people. I think those were some that I read about, and I was like, oh wow, this is a lot. Like,
it is a lot.
You know, but
yeah.
you can really do your research and get a wealth of knowledge, a plethora of knowledge from this community. It's like, wow. It's like I said,
it's not just the rainbow anymore.
Right.
There's different colors for certain genders. They even have added to the pride flag to have like a triangle component, or there's different colors. I want to say it's like a pink and blue for the trans community.
Oh wow!
Is added to the rainbow. So you have your older rainbow. You'll still see just the regular rainbow for pride, but if it has added the pink and blue, that's to represent the trans community.
Okay. I was saying, I'm trying to picture I know you see me look, because I'm trying to remember since it's Pride Month and I've seen a lot of flags. I want to say I haven't seen that one so far.
Sometimes they'll have, it might be like a triangle that's built into the flag to represent the trans community, or you might just see a pink and blue by itself.
Okay, just pink and blue by itself. Okay, I'm gonna have to just pay attention. So when you said a triangle, it will be actually on the flag looking like a triangle, or okay, I'm just curious because then I'm gonna be looking for it. Cause like, okay, I see now. Come on. Yeah. I just was thinking to myself, I don't think I've seen it, but it's good to know.
Yep. All right, Thomas. What does Pride Month mean to you personally, and how do you celebrate it?
So, I actually look forward to Pride Month. I know, we're proud 365, but during the month there are a lot of celebrations that happen, not just with the community itself, but it's more so like, corporations will recognize things. People's employers will recognize it. So I'm self-employed, of course, but to see different employers recognize it at their particular facilities, that's a big deal. And it's not just about a shirt. It's not just about, let's have a potluck or something. So just to really see that happen is big. I love seeing the parade and the festival that we have. It's actually this weekend.
Yeah, for the Nashville Pride.
Yes.
Did you go to the Franklin Pride?
No.
Okay.
The Nashville one is a very large one. So I really enjoy going there, and it's just nice. So we have, like I said, there's different events. There's every county or city does like a Pride festival. And then, like even nationwide, people do big things. I know Memphis has a pretty nice one with Pride. So, I mean, the sky's the limit in June. It's like, no, this is our month. You're not going to talk about us in June. So I like it. It gives me some stuff to do. I mean, we go pick out outfits and stuff. I already got mine.
Okay, what you wearing? Tell us about
You have to. It wasn't what I initially wanted because that was going to take too long, and I'm a last minute person.
Are you getting something custom made?
No. It's something off Amazon I found, but I needed something different. And what I really wanted, it was going to come. I think it was coming overseas, and it was going to take some weeks. And I waited too long. I had so much going on. I waited too long to order it, and I was like, you know what, this is really nice. But it just, what I like looking forward to at these festivals is there's no judgment whatsoever. People act the way they want to act. People wear what they want to wear. They hang with who they want to hang with, and it's like a freedom type event when you go to Pride and Fest, because nobody's going to talk about you. Like, we're all here, we're all a community, and I just love that aspect of it.
Okay.
And it'd be the beauty of it is all ethnicities out there. Yes. It's like y'all come together as one, no matter what. I like that.
And that's how it should be.
Yes.
I know you said earlier how all this time you've kind of just been you, but can you tell us a little bit about your journey of understanding your sexual orientation and when you became kind of aware that you were gay?
Wow. Okay, I guess I'll be PG.
Well, you could say a little, but we Yeah, because we mark it as not kid friendly. So.
Okay, so in 10th grade, I was only messing with one person. I'll say this. And it was just a little oral action in 10th grade. That continued until I went to college. Now, when I went to college, it was a whole new world going on. It was kind of like people found me on the campus and started having me hang with them. We would they like to dress up and do makeup and drag and stuff. And I'm like, I was not used to that at all. Like I had been to the club down here in Nashville a couple of times because I was just like 18 then. So it was like I went a couple of times, but I was not exposed to any of that. I didn't know anything about drag. I didn't know anything about the online platforms that we had. Nothing about who's the top, bottom. They were like asking me. I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is because that's not what I hung around when I was growing up. So learning all of that, that first I was in Memphis for a year and a half, and that was a big journey. I messed up so much I had to drop out of school, but it was a lot of activities going on, and I decided after a year and a half that it just wasn't for me. So during that time, I was very active, and that was when I was like, okay, this is who I am. Because I had a girlfriend my senior year of high school. We stayed together during the first semester of college, and we broke up because she was going to school in Louisiana and I was in Memphis. So it was like, we're not going to do the long distance thing. I'm not seeing you. You know, you got to try to make time to talk on the phone. And I was like, okay. So after that, I tell people that's the only, I guess you could say, real fish that I had.
You do call people fish. Look, the fish bag.
Yeah, that was the only real fish I've ever had. It was the one. So I've tried it, but decided going forward that wasn't for me, and I just continued to be who I was. So I've had I ain't gonna count how many boyfriends. It ain't been that many, but came back and met some more people in the community, and that's when I started going to the clubs down here, understood them more. I got to get more friends and meet more people. So just growing up my early 20s, I was really able to understand, okay, this is who I want to be. This is what I want to do. And I was just cool with it and just live my life.
So for you, it started when you were older. Because I know some people, they was like, oh, I knew since I was little or a child or stuff like that. And so it's different for everybody. Everybody's journey is different. So thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
And I'm going to add this little story. Last year, Thomas, we were both at an event together. And I was there representing my business, the Closet Experience Boutique. And a unique moment unfolded. You remember that? Like y'all keep on Thomas if you remember.
I remember.
And it reminded me the power of words and unexpected conversations. It was just like out of nowhere. You know, we struck up a conversation as we knew, and we exchanged pleasantries because we know each other. And you mentioned the name of my business. It was like the Closet Experience, the closet. And then you blurted out, I'm out the closet. It's something to that effect. I can't remember. There was something about the word closet.
I said, I've been out the closet.
I've been out the closet. And y'all, his comments caught me off guard. When I say I was so caught off guard, and I kind of chuckled and was kind of like a deer in headlights because that playful twist on words was like, what did he just say? You know how something hit you, but it go over your head? So in that casual banner, something shifted, I noticed. And it was just like you had a sense of an honest moment for an opportunity to divulge to me that you were gay. Like it hit me that you were telling me you were gay. So, Thomas, what made you decide to divulge that information to me? Like out of the blue. It was just like out of the blue.
So I've always been the type of person that when it comes to my head, it's just going to come right out. So whether I'm talking about business, whether I'm talking about a person, whatever the case is, if I have a thought, it's going to come out. And that's what happened in that situation. It came to my head and I just threw it out. Now, I was not necessarily telling you I was gay. I didn't know you didn't know. It was just, I'm like, this is me. So the look on your face was like,
the look on
what?
my face was priceless.
And I'm like, you ain't know, like.
And it's not, I mean, I just never paid that much. It's like, we're cool, but it never just dawned on me about who, you know, if you were gay, not gay.
Yeah.
It just never crossed my mind because we always talk about big, like, I just never thought about it, I guess.
And that's just me being me. Because like I said, I don't necessarily go out here, try to portray a gay person. I'm going to be me regardless. So if you pick up on it, I'm like, I'm not trying to hide anything. You know, we all have gay traits. So it's like, if those come out, they come out. I'm not going to try to be like, oh, let me stop. I see where I am. So being around you, it was just like.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I mean, I don't think you, because like I said, you always are manable when you approach, we have conversation, we talk about business, or we talk about the events. That's what I'm saying. It's never like, it was not that you're flamboyant, and like nothing ever just, when
But
you
I think that's what it is. So,
because most of the people she's around are a little more
that I know that are gay. Yeah. The ones that I know they are very flamboyant. Let's just So maybe that's how I pick up on. But with you,
so she hadn't really been around some that are
yeah.
not.
And a lot of people think like that. It's like you have to act a certain way, or you're gonna dress or look a certain way, and it's like.
No, it's a spectrum like everything else.
You got some real thuggish dudes out there bending over, and you wouldn't even know it. So,
ooh, when we get out there, give me the tea, give me the scoop.
Oh my God!
I'm just playing, y'all. Y'all know that's not what we do here. I am not about that life. No, I could care less. Be happy. I don't want to know the tea.
Right.
Yes. So, speaking of that, since you divulged that information to me, I got a question for you. How do you feel about people going around outing other people?
I do not agree with that. So that's why that not even just in the gay community, but anybody is going to be holding back with information between, you know, who they like to share it with, because you don't know who is going to tell what.
Right.
So, and I mean, that's male, female, gay, straight, whatever, because even women will go and tell who they've been messing with or who they're talking to. And if you tell that one person, they might have another friend that's like, oh, I'm not supposed to tell you. Or let me tell you what happened with so-and-so. And it goes to that person. And you think that the conversation ends between you two, but it really doesn't.
Right.
So that's why people are so reserved. Not just in the gay community, but anywhere. Reserved with what you share with people. Because, and that leads to, you know, depression and other things, because it's like, I want to tell somebody, but I don't trust anyone. So to tell anybody's business, whether you're outing them or whatever the case may be, definitely don't agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback out, because outing someone's sexual orientation without their consent is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, it's a blatant violation of their privacy, for number one, and their trust, for number two. Everyone deserves the right to control their own story, their own narrative.
Right.
You know, we don't need you out here talking about, because we live in a world now where we have the TMZs. Everybody want to one-up somebody. But that's not the way to do it. Yeah. Because you never know, like you said, somebody could be struggling with that identity. They don't really know if they're gay or a lesbian or this or that at that moment. You know how you still trying, maybe they hadn't got where you are. Like you said, you knew on top. Maybe they don't know. It's a struggle. Maybe they're having that identity struggle within them. So they should be allowed to tell their own story when they need to tell their story. Correct. And so we have to stop all this, want to be the first one to tell, oh, I want to be the first person to post it. Did you know? No, sometimes have respect for the other person. Right. Like you said earlier, it's about respecting one's personal space and those boundaries, as you discussed earlier, because it's just not right. Like, you don't know. And I have read, not recently, but I have read times where people were outed and they committed suicide. Yeah, you know that community. Yeah. Right. And it's, like you said, that depression is real, y'all. You never know what somebody is going through. The key thing to do is ask yourself, if the shoe was on the other foot, would you want it done to you? That's just a rule, cardinal rule to go by. Yeah.
I will say on the flip side, though, I appreciate the families that know and don't say anything, because that does happen a lot of times.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
You'll be in the family and the person will finally come out and say, hey, I'm gay. or this is my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case is, and the family's like, we already knew.
Right, exactly. We was just waiting on you to tell us, or when you were ready. Yep, exactly.
Let the person go and tell when they are ready.
Yep.
All right. Piggybacking off of that, could you describe how you approach discussing your sexual orientation with your close friends and family? Did y'all ever have that conversation, or you just popped up with a boyfriend with you one day?
Yeah, I just pop up. I've never said I'm gay. And then like close friends, your real close friends, you already telling who you sucking and sleeping with and all that anyway. So it's like, I mean, we be quick to pick up the phone or text, guess who I just did something with. That's part of the highlight of the conversation sometimes. Like listening to, what they've done or who they've done it. And I'm like, I have straight friends, we talk about that. Gay friends, we talk about that. So your close friends, you can really keep things and share things like that. So
you just out there laying it low and spreading it wide.
No, you didn't.
I am telling.
That's why I had to leave Memphis.
You were supposed to be in the books. Oh Lord.
I was. I said, no, I got to go.
Thanks for sharing that. This is funny to me when I said that laying it low and spreading it wide. Lord Jesus, help me. Look at I'm called on the Lord. But speaking of the Lord, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I don't personally know your parents, but I do know of them. Let me say that way. And I know they're involved in the church. So, you know where I'm going with this. How was that for your parents when they found, like I said, either they sensed it or they didn't, but being part of the church, what was that like? So
I'll be honest, nothing has changed. Like, because I still am very active in the church. I sing in the choir. They support my business a lot. Like, I mean, people know me because I grew up there. So even with my parents, we never sat down and said Thomas is gay. It was kind of like they knew back in the day and would talk about it until I brought my friend home and, it was like solidified at that point. He was even coming to church. So it wasn't anything bad for my parents per se. I will say this, since we're on the topic. At one point, my church tried to kick me out.
That's what I was getting at, the church, and then I got a follow-up question. Tell us about that experience.
Because the church is full of it.
So my church did try to put me out, but I'll say their timing was bad. That's why it didn't happen. Because they actually pulled me into the pastor study one time, and it was like one of the ministers and one of the deacons, and asked me if I had a boyfriend, and I said no. I mean, I wasn't lying at that time. I did not. So in my head, I'm thinking you should have asked, a few months ago. You're a little late. So I said no. Honestly, I was like, no, I don't. But it was like, if I say yes, what are you going to do? And I know that they would have tried to sit me down from being out of the choir or tried to take different positions from me because that did happen to somebody else. It was a female.
Oh, wow.
It happened to her. And she kind of left the church for a little while, but they had told she had to stop participating and doing things my church is real old school. It was like back in the day when teenagers would get pregnant, they had to stop being in the choir and doing so they still are like that. This was I'm not gonna say it was recent, but it was probably about 8 or 9 years ago that happened.
Oh, and I hate that. Wow. Because when we think about the Bible, and we shouldn't be judgmental, basically. And it's like you say one thing that you're going by the Bible, but you're judging technically. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he without sin cast the first stone. Whether I'm gay, what you doing? You sleeping with Miss Mabel? That ain't your wife. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. We're going to talk about it, church. Like, I'm just being real. It's mighty funny how we can pick and choose the sin hierarchy. Right. It's like, crazy. I've never understood that when it comes to the church. You're right. No disrespect, but it's like, things that make you say, make it make sense.
Because if we went down the list, it's like the people, sin is sin.
Right. It's sin is sin. Yeah. God didn't say this sin is greater than this one. Yes, I can go steal something. That's a sin. Yeah. I can go commit adultery. That's a sin. They're both carry equal weight. And I don't think people understand that.
That's why a lot of gay people don't like the church. Now, you do have churches that are fully supportive, and they let you know that. Like, they talk about homosexuality. It's just part of their community.
Right. I passed the church on the way here, and they had a pride sign, a flag up with their church sign.
Yeah. I know United Methodist Church here is big on that.
Because at the end of the way I see it is, we don't know who's going to heaven or hell. You could think that Sister Mary Ann, that you think has been serving the Lord with all her heart, has never done anything wrong. You don't know when she go home behind them closed doors what she's doing.
You're right.
So we don't know. Only God knows who's going through those gates.
Right.
All you can do is live for you and do what you're supposed to do. Because you're human. We're going to mess up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, y'all keep that judgment. Keep the judgment to yourself. But I was gonna ask about how do you think churches have evolved? But you essentially answered that when you said the Methodist Church is being inclusive to
it's
it.
certain churches.
Well, yeah, not all of them, but yeah.
Some
But we're making strides. Do you feel like we're making strides, or that the church community is making some strides?
It depends on the community and the denomination and all of that.
So let me ask you this. Gonna be a little controversial here. So would you approach are you still at the same church? Let me just ask you that. Okay, so since you're at the same church, would you initiate an initiative for pride at your church?
No.
Is it because you don't think they will be receptive to it, or?
I don't think that belongs in the church.
Okay.
Just period. Yeah, I just would not.
That's fair.
Yeah, like there are other, especially coming up in this generation, there are some that are younger than me that are out in the community, in the gay community. And it's just like understood. Like, we don't talk about it. It's not acknowledged per se, but and they still come to church.
Right.
So it's just like, I mean, we're here. We're human. We're not doing anything wrong that puts a bad name on the church, that does anything to harm anybody. So it's like, I mean, we're just regular church members. I don't see what the issue is.
It's almost like they try to pit it like you are, what is it, the Scarlet Letter?
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh no, they're tainted. They're, no, God loves everybody.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes,
he does.
All right. So how do you find support, or even in the past, find support or guidance navigating your identity? Were there particular individuals or communities that, played a supportive role in your journey?
So in our community, a lot of times we find people that are similar to us. So I have gay friends, and a lot of my friends I have known for over a decade. And those are truly the people I consider to be my best friends. And that's just how, because we found that we have a common interest. It's not going to be friends with everybody, but you find a group of people that works for you, that you don't mind hanging out with. You're going to share the different business with. You're going to share what's good going with you, what's bad, and talk about it and be supportive of each other. And that's why I'm like, I really like the friends that I have, because we've been there for years. And they ain't going nowhere. But there are resources out there. Like, I'm a member of the Tennessee Pride, which is the Chamber of Commerce here, and they are the most supportive people of my business. I will say that.
Right
now,
very supportive. We have resources for young black men. There's Nashville Cares. I think Nashville Cares is for everybody. But then there's we have Mashup out there. There is.
Can you explain what that is?
Oh, so Mashup is a nonprofit organization. The same with there's the Nashville Black Pride, which is another nonprofit organization. They provide resources. So if you need education on where to go to get support, like whether it's for mental, they give you financial resources that you can look up. They provide free testing, like free STD, HIV testing, and they help just build a community for people that don't know where to go. So even in the outside world, it's like people are talking about me. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I'm suicidal, depressed, whatever the case may be. There are specific resources out there for the LGBT plus community.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So like
Launchpad is another one too.
So it's like safe spaces.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have Launchpad, which is good because they focus more on the homeless LGBT community. So finding places and giving them rooms or type of bedding and places to stay. So there's a lot of different resources out there that is specific for LGBT plus.
Oh, wow.
Good to know.
I want to ask you when it comes to media, because I'm curious about your perspective on the representation of LGBTQ plus individuals in the media and culture today. How do you feel about the current portrayal? And do you think it accurately depicts what's going on within your community?
That's a good question. So I think that the media has grown. I will say that the portrayal of the LGBT community has gotten much better and more accepting over the years, especially because you're having actual LGBT people portray these characters in a lot of scenes. Pose was a great show. It's over with now, but I mean, it's something you can binge watch and it's still very relatable, even though it takes place back in like the 80s and early 90s. The trials that are faced in that community are still relevant in today's times. And everyone in each one of those characters was so believable, so relatable, even to today's time. So shout out to Billy Porter. He's gonna be not like I know him, but he's gonna be at Pride this weekend. He's performing.
Lord, I love Billy Porter.
Yeah, he's performing at Pride this weekend.
I gotta work. I love me some Billy Porter.
So he's like in a lot of LGBT scenes, like music and movies and TV shows. So just whoever they had, I don't know if they have specific coaches or aides that help them with the LGBT scenes and writing, things like that. But it does help to make sure that the character is very believable and it's something that we can relate to, because we like shows like that. Like we would in the community, they would have whole Pose watching events and things like that. So even in there's characters that it's not very flamboyant, you know, it's not over the top. It's like this is how you are. And the character might be funny, or they might have some flamboyant ways, but it's not like they're over the top and trying to make fun of the community.
Yeah, I've noticed a trend where many shows are striving to be inclusive with the community, with the characters and the storylines, which is undoubtedly important. And I believe that's important. However, I got to put that however in there. There's a concern sometimes that it seems like it's forced on viewers. Like every show we watch now. Like I'm all about being inclusive, you know that. But sometimes it does seem like they're just pushing that narrative, the agenda, the gay narrative in our face.
I'm going to disagree.
That's good. You disagree. Let's talk about it.
Because when I look at it, you have to look at all aspects of life. It's the same way as when you have a show, you're going to have the white character, the black character, the Asian character. Ready to say that. Like even when it comes to race, there's going to be a variety. Right. So why do you not have that variety in the sexuality aspect of it as well?
Which makes sense.
You're wanting to represent everyone. And then on a media standpoint, the more people you represent, the more viewers you're going to get. So it does make sense as long as it's, like you said, it's just not over the top.
Well,
and it's realistic.
Sometimes we watch shows and, you know, it's just like, it's just all they do is bang, bang. You want to just keep showing like, and the man going down on the man. That's just like.
Now,
you get what I'm saying when I say forced.
The sexual aspect doesn't always have to be there.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'll say that.
That's forced. Like it's forced.
I guess it depends on the audience and the show. Because in P-Valley, I love P-Valley. Yeah. P-Valley is one of my shows too. I need them to hurry up and come back.
They coming back July or something, but
but it's like a year or two.
I don't even remember
it's too far.
That's what I said. I don't even remember the plot, none of that.
Yeah, but I mean, like you have
Cliff of the murder.
Yes,
see, that'll give me time to watch it because I've never seen it.
Okay, so you have Uncle Clifford, which is obviously gay. He's very flamboyant. We get that, but he's like one of the main characters. Everybody loves him. But then you had the rapper Murda, that was more on the straight side, appearance wise, but ended up being sexually active with Uncle Clifford.
Oh, okay.
So they did end up having some scenes in there,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you had scenes with females as well that
Right.
came and went. So it was like they did have a balance. Now, of course, we were more rooting for the Clifford and murder scenes, but we liked the balance because it wasn't always there. It was like some sex scenes and some was just more conversational that they would have.
I want to piggyback on something you said earlier. You talked about Pose. I didn't watch it, but how do you feel about casting directors putting heterosexual people in those roles versus, like, we see like your murder. I'm pretty sure he's heterosexual. So
he is, yeah.
So when I'm saying that to say, how does that feel when you know that there's qualified actors and actresses out there?
But it doesn't make you qualified just because.
No, I'm saying not because you're gay, but I'm saying that you have those credentials. No, keep in mind they have the credentials, but it's like they're getting overlooked because about maybe a year or two ago, I read something about that was a concern that they were being overlooked. That's why.
But are you being overlooked, or this particular actor does a more phenomenal job than you because he plays that role?
Oh, good point. Good point.
I like that perspective.
It's all about acting. People play a role, and that's what makes you a great actor. So to know that he is heterosexual, this man got a whole wife and kids, I think. So he plays that role, and that's what we want to see is great acting. It's not like we're going home with the actor.
Right.
So I don't care what your sexuality is. At the end of the day, if you're a great actor and great at what you do, that's all we care about.
Yeah, and I was gonna say a lot of it. I believe when I was reading into that was they were going after Tyler Perry. Like, why does he not cast? It just don't hit me that's where I was reading that about. They were targeting Tyler Perry, saying, "Oh, he can, we're some talented people in the LGBTQ plus community." It was just all this back and forth. And I think it was about 2 years ago or so, and I was kind of like, it just kind of made me be like, oh, but then your perspective is great. At the end of the day, you may be this, but can you remember lines? Are you qualified? But then they are, like I said, they are truly qualified individuals. It almost goes back to the discussion. I believe it was Denzel. Correct me, y'all, if I'm wrong. Remember when he kind of was saying when rappers were coming to get parts, and he was like, they didn't go to school, they didn't study, they're not. What's it called? Thespian.
Oh yeah.
You remember when that conversation came up when reality stars just getting roles because we started
just because they were reality stars and not because they could act.
Right, they couldn't act. Oh, well, some of them could, so I'm not gonna take that away from anybody. But
the training isn't there.
Yeah, the training isn't there, and where it stemmed from, we live in I call it the microwave society where people are only looking at what can you bring to the table. They got this amount of followers. When followers and engagement started taking over craftsmanship.
Yeah, you're right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I was just wondering that when I thought about that, I was like, wow, because you said Pose, and I never got to see that. But I was thinking, and you were talking about how good the acting was, and I was like, oh,
I heard it was a great show.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look that one up. I didn't watch that.
Yeah, Pose is great.
Pose. Yeah. I'm going to have to make sure
check it out. Yep. All right, I'm about to flip the script. All right. So has your sexual orientation had an impact on your work as an entrepreneur?
No. Like I said, I actually joined the Tennessee Pride Chamber. It was something I thought about, and I was like, I don't mind because I'm not ashamed of who I am. And since I have the opportunities, they have events, very, very supportive of my business. I definitely love them. Like when I look at organizations, they're going to be one of the top ones for me in my business. So great. I appreciate it, but no, because I am who I am. So I'm still going to give you the great service that I am going to do anyway. So being gay should have nothing to do with that.
Right. But you know how a lot of people kind of use, like, if something is failing in their business or their business being targeted for some reason, they're kind of using as excuses, like, because, you know,
we put those back.
this is my orientation, I'm being targeted, or people are not,
I don't.
Do you have those badges? And I can't remember. I've been to your place, but I can't remember. You know how they have, like, I'm a black business, I'm our support LGBT. Do you have any of those badges in your storefront? And then I'm gonna tell you where I'm going with this.
I don't have any badges. No.
And the reason I'm saying that, I
that.
get what you were talking about, the commerce being there for you, but we talk about, like, what about individual consumer? Like, has somebody been like, oh, you know, sometimes we get the stigma of being a black business, like, oh, I don't want to go over there, it's just a black business. But so that's why I was asking you, that has an actual individual come to get your services, which is, like I said, you don't come off, so like nobody, from what I tell, like, it's not like, oh, you just don't be like, oh, I'm just openly gay or anything.
And some people intentionally look for those badges so they know, oh, this is a safe place. I can go and, you know what I'm saying?
So it hits me now.
Okay.
On Google, my business does say identifies as black owned. I want to say it does say identifies as, it either says LGBT friendly. I believe that's the badge that Google gives you. It says LGBT friendly.
Okay.
So, and I'm like, that's totally fine there. But I tried not to, based on some feedback that I got a couple years ago in my business, I try not to even push the fact that it's a black business because the products and services I have are for everyone.
Everybody.
Exactly.
So
I
a lot
agree.
of my marketing at first was geared towards, I'm a black person, I'm a black business. It was black templates and Instagram, and it was just like the feedback was kind of scale back on that. So that's what I really
Especially if you want to reach more people and
Correct.
have a more diverse customer base.
Yeah. So I'm like, my products and services anyone can use. So it's not all about the race or sexuality when it comes to that.
Unfortunately, Thomas, we have to wrap this up, and it's been nice. But one last question. As Pride Month comes to an end, we're almost at the end of June. What message of encouragement would you share with those continuing to advocate for the LGBTQ plus rights and inclusion beyond June?
So what would I say to the people who advocate for us? Continue to provide resources for us. Continue to be a friendly face. A safe space that people can go to, and just always fight for what you believe and what we believe, because a lot of times our community does not know where to go, doesn't know who to ask for help. So the more resources we have, the more that they put themselves out in the forefront, the easier it is for our community. Have events, offer solutions and support. Just keep pushing that because it's definitely needed. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Thomas, for stopping by the I Am Kiana Skills podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
It was truly a pleasure having you, and you are welcome back anytime. You are now part of the family. Yes, you are. Real talk. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life. Define yourself. Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people. I know that's right. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast.